I can't tell. I'm sure they have fantasies. I think they have fantasies about everyone connected with rock and roll. Them following me, I follow them, you know, or I reflect them.
Even at the age of 81, the guy whose dancing lights up stadiums in the swinging 60s London continues to captivate audiences. Mick Jagger seems to be unfazed by the passage of time. How is that possible? Immerse yourself in his life today as you hear about an unexpected plea for civic action and get a glimpse inside his houses, daily routines, and family relationships. There was once a young man with a record collection and an inner flame who existed long before the fame, the mayhem, and the sadness. This is where it all started. His parents, Basil Joe Jagger, a gym instructor and ex-gymnastic, and Eva Scutts, a hairdresser and political activist, were from a middle-class family in Dartford, Kent, England, where Sir Michael Philip Jagger was born on July 26, 1943. He had a younger brother named Chris, who would go on to have a successful music career of his own. While growing up, Mick was a church choir member and a huge fan of the American rhythm and blues music that played on the BBC and Radio Luxembourg. Mick and Keith Richards met in September 1950 at Wentworth Primary School, and they hit it off right away over the Chuck Berry and Muddy Waters albums that Mick had in his school bag. Mick continued his education at Dartford Grammar School in 1954 after completing the 11th plus test. The school now has a performing arts venue named after him, the Mick Jagger Center. Mick was destined to become a teacher like his father, but he couldn't resist the allure of music. At the age of 13, he and other classmates created their first skiffle group, using guitars they obtained from local stores. Little Boy Blue and the Blue Boys, a group he was practicing with Dick Taylor in 1960, sang songs by Bo Diddley and Howlin' Wolf. Their musical collaboration was solidified when Keith Richards's Common Record collection surfaced during a fortuitous meeting on Dartford Station's Platform 2 in October 1961. With guitarist Brian Jones joining them, the group relocated to London and leased an apartment at 102 Edith Grove in Chelsea towards the end of 1961. With the help of a government grant, Mick attended the London School of Economics to study finance. He contemplated a future in journalism or politics before deciding to devote himself entirely to music. All the while, Richards and Jones were joining Alexis Corner's Blues Incorporated at the Ealing Club. Attending LSE helped him hone his public speaking skills, which he put to use in both the classroom and, shortly after, on stage. With Mick leading the group, the freshly rechristened Rolling Stones made their debut at London's Marquee Club on July 12, 1962. The other members of the band were Keith Richards, Ian Stewart, Bill Wyman, Charlie Watts, and Brian Jones. The band's early performances included unrehearsed covers of Chuck Berry's Come On and Little Walter's Jigsaw Puzzle, which garnered them enthusiastic applause and curious reviews from the press that described them as authentically gritty. A few months later, they released Come On as their debut single, and by 1963, they had written their first UK Top 10 hit, I Wanna Be Your Man, by Lennon and McCartney. When they broke through in 1964, their singles Not Fade Away and Time Is On My Side did quite well in the United States. Mick Jagger's cocky stage presence, complete with twisted hips, pointed microphone stands, and leaning into the crowd, encapsulated the restless energy of young culture, in stark contrast to the Beatles' image. By 1965, I Can't Get No Satisfaction had become an international hit, cementing their place in rock and roll history and topping charts worldwide. As his star began to rise, Mick was involved in a slew of controversies, drug arrests, high-profile relationships, crazy parties, and legal issues in London's heyday. In spite of all that was going on, his passion for performing never faded, and he kept honing his singing skills to become the best at what he did. An uncommon accolade for a rock singer, he was knighted as Sir Mick Jagger in 2003 in appreciation of his effect on music. Mick never wavered from his mission to inspire movement, shouting, and a sense of vitality, no matter the obstacles he faced. His meteoric rise from schoolboy in Dartford to lead singer of rock's biggest band paved the way for decades of relentless touring, #1 singles, and undying enthusiasm. But when Mick appeared to have won it all, the true test started. Could he wear the crown through the mayhem, weariness, and pressure of international renown? Come with me as we enter the era that changed rock forever. In the late 1960s, Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones were at the height of their stardom after releasing a series of albums that revolutionized rock music. Songs like Sympathy for the Devil and Street Fighting Man from their 1968 album Beggar's Banquet melded blues, rock, and social criticism in an unfiltered, eerie manner. The album was released in December. In November 1969, they released Let It Bleed, which showcased a broader range of influences, from country on Country Honk to gospel on You Can't Always Get What You Want. Sticky Fingers, which debuted in August 1971 and featured an Andy Warhol cover and singles like Brown Sugar, became their first album to reach #1 in the UK and US radio charts. The Stones' status as cultural and aesthetic influencers was solidified with these albums, which elevated them above that of a mere singles band. Live performances increased in frequency as their fame spread. Stadium tours in the early 1970s were spectacles, complete with enormous marquees, complex lighting systems, and garish outfits that mirrored Jagger's confidence on stage. He and Keith Richards would lead the band through 2-hour shows, with 30 songs or more, played nightly. His energetic leaps across the platform, spins of the microphone stand, and postures sent the crowd into a frenzy. He had the certain gait of a dancer, even at the age of 30, thanks to his father's early physical education classes and the countless hours of practice he put in. Their world tours were hugely profitable. A record-breaking $10 million was brought in during the 1972 American tour. The Tattoo You Tour, which toured North America and Europe in 1981, was a smashing success, earning over $125 million and attracting over 4 million fans. By learning to pace himself and incorporating rest periods between tour legs, Jagger was able to keep the sound quality consistent throughout all of the venues. In order to maintain his voice, he remained on the go, sleeping in tour buses or private planes, and eating light meals prepared by personal chefs. With Tina Turner, Jagger performed State of Shock and It's Only Rock and Roll at Live Aid in Philadelphia in 1985, which was broadcasted to more than 1 billion viewers across the world. This, his first solo performance in a long time, showcased his ability to bring people together for charitable causes and solidified his position as a worldwide legend. The Steel Wheels Tour, which he headlined again in 1989 with the Rolling Stones, combined his theatrics with increased use of video displays and laser effects, and it became the year's highest-grossing tour. The Stones changed and progressed as time went on. Jagger dabbled with rap guest appearances and dance routines in addition to his signature motions during the 1997-1998 Bridges to Babylon tour, which included ornate stage decor influenced by medieval castles. Those who anticipated a slowdown were taken aback by his endurance. In 2005 and 2007, he celebrated his 60th birthday with the highest-grossing tour of all time, A Bigger Bang, which raked in almost $500 million. He continued to rush across the stage, passionately delivering every note, even though he was approaching 65 years old. With the release of Hackney Diamonds in October 2023, Jagger made his triumphant return to the Stones after an 18-year hiatus. With an average lineup of 25 songs and a 25-piece string section for ballads, the 2024-2025 Hackney Diamonds Tour grossed $235.1 million and sold 800 tickets during 18 stadium events in North America. Even if he's a little more mellow now than he was 60 years ago, his charismatic stage presence and strong voice were immediately noticeable to audiences. In the background, he collaborates with choreographers to develop his routine, talks with sound experts to adjust the acoustics of each stadium, and chooses clothing that strikes a mix between practicality and style. He treats each performance as an organism, full of surprises for him and the audience alike. In response to questions on retirement in recent interviews, he has smiled and stated that he will continue to perform as long as the Stones fans desire them. The Rolling Stones traveling machine was Mick Jagger's boundless energy and inventiveness, which carried them through every era, from psychedelia to punk reaction to MTV pop to the modern digital age. Through his groundbreaking fusion of music, theater, and couture, he elevated live rock and roll performances to the level of high-stakes spectacle. After hours on stage and sold-out stadium concerts, Jagger views his body as his most valuable instrument. From the first light of day to the last encore, his day is all about moving, eating, and sleeping. A lot of artists lose steam as they get older, but he's found a pattern that works for him, and he credits his father for instilling in him the will to keep going strong. A healthy eating regimen starts every day. He throws some ginseng, banana, kale, and a tablespoon of honey into a smoothie. He takes a multivitamin and pills of cod liver oil to make up for any nutritional deficiencies. His morning meal may consist of poached eggs on whole grain bread or porridge topped with fruit. Grilled chicken or fish served with a green salad is a common lunchtime option because of the protein and fiber it provides. If he wants to get a good night's rest, he doesn't eat anything heavy after 6. The concepts of the Okinawan and Mediterranean diets inform his eating habits, which prioritize unprocessed, natural foods over processed ones. Throughout the day, he also consumes large quantities of water and herbal teas. He practices dancing with a choreographer twice a week. 2 hours are dedicated to practicing stage maneuvers, steps, and turns to maintain his coordination. Light weights, resistance bands, and exercises utilizing only his body make up his gym routine, which he attends 3 times weekly. To save his joints the strain, he avoids heavy lifting and trains instead to move at the same tempo as when performing. For extended performances, he keeps his muscles supple by stretching after every gym session. He holds each stretch for 30 seconds. To keep going for 2 hours straight, cardio is essential. To build up his foot muscles, he runs 5 to 12 kilometers in minimalist running shoes around his country estate 3 mornings a week. While on tour, he uses a wristwatch to monitor his mileage and speed on hotel treadmills instead of rural roads. In addition to getting his blood pumping and building endurance, these runs help him relax before sound checks. Indoor cycling or rowing are his go-to workouts when the weather is bad. Functional exercises and low-impact movements are combined in strength training. Swings with kettlebells work the core and hips, while stability and balance drills with suspension training and resistance bands target the shoulders and hips. He trains exclusively with exercises that mimic stage movements, such as lunges, squats, and step-ups, and never with heavy machinery. He finds that an Epsom salt bath helps alleviate muscle aches after his workouts. He keeps himself healthy and ready to bounce back from extended tours by scheduling daily, deep tissue massages with a massage therapist. Exercise is important, but so is sleep and mental tranquility. He finds that meditating for 15 minutes before bed helps him relax and cleanse his mind. While on tour, he follows the same regimen as at home. He avoids devices for an hour before bed, reads light novels if necessary, and wears noise-canceling headphones and blackout curtains. After rehearsing, he occasionally takes a nap. To be prepared for early rehearsals or days of travel, He follows this sleep regimen. He will have aches and pains after an 80-year career. Hot and cold packs and the occasional ibuprofen are his go-to remedies for mild ailments. In order to alleviate persistent joint stiffness, he follows his physiotherapist's instructions for low-intensity laser treatment and ultrasound sessions. To maintain fluid motion in all of his joints, he does mobility drills every day. These include stretches for the wrists and ankles, as well as light twists of the spine. The key to avoiding forced pauses and maintaining consistent displays night after night, according to him, is staying ahead of pains, which is why he visits a sports doctor for exams as necessary. Diet, exercise, rest, and injury prevention make up Mick Jagger's overall wellness regimen. When he feels tired, he scales down, and when he has energy, he pushes harder. He attributes his success to regular routines and listens to his body. He is able to confidently tackle each tour date because to this equilibrium. His vigor and longevity, especially for someone in his 70s, are the result of a lifetime of self-discipline, devotion, and meticulous self-care. Mick Jagger has 8 children, born to 5 different women over the course of 50 years. Each of his offspring has taken a different route in life, and it shows in their individuality and creativity. Karis Hunt Jagger, who was born in November 1970 to Marcia Hunt, an actress and singer, is currently based in Los Angeles and works in film production. New York City-based jewelry designer Jade Sheena Jezebel Jagger is the daughter of Nicaraguan actress Bianca Jagger. She was born in October 1971. James Leroy Augustine Jagger and Elizabeth Scarlett Jagger are identical twins who were born in March 1972 to Bianca Jagger and photographer Robert Mapplethorpe. James goes on to have a successful career in music and film production, while Elizabeth focuses on acting and photography. Born to Jerry Hall in January 1992, Georgia May Aisha Jagger began her career in fashion business when she was 30 years old. Jerry Hall's son, Gabriel Luke Beauregard Jagger, started a Brooklyn-based media website and design firm in December 1997. Born to Luciana Gimenez in May of 1999, Lucas Maurice Morad Jagger is a creative director and Paris-based travel content creator. The youngest member of the Jagger family, Devereaux Octavian Basil Jagger, who was born in December 2016 to Melanie Hamrick, a former ballet dancer, and is currently a student in New York City, adds a dynamic new dimension to the family dynamic. After their breakup, Mick and Marcia Hunt remained friendly. They shared in Karis's successes and attended her film festivals together. Marcia was Mick's first companion in fame and fatherhood. Even after moving back to Paris after her 1971 marriage to Salvadoran politician Juan José Chamorro, Bianca Jagger remained in touch with Mick through the twins' yearly birthday meals. They co-parented 4 children and had holiday gatherings in Buckinghamshire. But Jerry Hall and Mick never officially married despite their high-profile romance in the 1970s and 1980s. Luciana Gimenez, who is married to Lucas, lives in both Sao Paulo and Miami. On special occasions like Jagger's birthday and school recitals, she converses with Jagger through video chats. Since meeting in 2014, Melanie Hamrick and Mick have welcomed a son, Devereaux, into their family in 2016. They currently split custody of their kid and spend their Stones vacations between a townhouse in Manhattan and a chateau in the Loire Valley. Unfailingly, Mick honors school activities, recitals, and birthdays, even though his touring schedule is unrelenting. He even leaves weeks out of his calendar for family time. He invites his brothers, nieces, and nephews to summer picnics at Winter Hill, where they swim in the lake and play football on the grass. After spending Christmas Eve in Melanie's home in New York, he goes to France to spend New Year's Eve mingling with traditions like Yule logs, turkey feasts, and champagne toasts. Everything happens in December. Despite spending months on the road, these pursuits help keep the band members close, and the miles between them minimal. The importance of Mick as patriarch has increased with the passing of time. He became a great-grandparent at the age of 70, bestowed to him by Jade's daughter Assisi, and grandkids soon followed. There was already a lot of enthusiasm in the family for a wedding in 2026 before Georgia May became pregnant in the middle of 2024. Now, everyone is even more excited because Lucas recently got engaged to his long-term girlfriend. A flurry of emoticons, voice notes, and last-minute arrangements for art openings and beach getaways filled the family group's communications, and Mick responds with audio clips in his signature drawl. His love remains constant no matter what. He cheers on school plays from the wings, watches his daughters walk the catwalk at fashion shows, and listens to gallery events, reminding him that a legacy is forged in the home as much as on concert stages. He argues that family life anchors him more than any standing ovation ever could. Aside from the US and England, Mick Jagger has real estate holdings all around the world. Purchased in the early 17th century, the 50-acre Winter Hill estate in Turville, Buckinghamshire, features a private lake, historic trees, and rolling pastures. Renovated in a rustic design, the main house still has its original stone walls and beams. There are guest cottages in the area for when people come to visit. The estate is ideal for anyone seeking seclusion and rejuvenation in between tour dates. It has walking routes, fishing spots, organic gardens, beehives, and a huge gym dance practice area. A 5-bedroom red brick townhouse in Marylebone, London, with renovated fireplaces, wood flooring, sash windows, a spacious breakfast room, and a location close to Regent's Park. With 3 bedrooms, a glass-enclosed terrace, and subterranean parking, this penthouse apartment on Baker Street in London offers breathtaking views of the city. The building was converted from a Victorian-era structure, priced at £5.5 million, and put up for sale in early 2025. Soho Loft in New York City. Loft-style apartments with ceiling-to-floor windows, exposed beams, and wide plank flooring in a converted cast-iron warehouse. He uses it while exploring North America and loves how close it is to eateries and galleries. A reclaimed wood dining table and guitars adorn the area, which combines modern art with antique rock memorabilia. A 2-story waterfront property on half an acre adjacent to a canal in Lakewood Ranch Villa, Florida, purchased 2024, complete with a heated pool, private dock, and covered terrace for rehearsals of live music. During the off-season, he lets friends and family use it for morning runs by the water. A studio constructed into a cliff on the Italian island of Ischia, close to Naples, and an apartment in Monte Carlo with a view of the Mediterranean are among the other rumored properties. Nobody outside of the immediate family and employees knows about these off-market residences. Every year, a team of dedicated caretakers, including gardeners, housekeepers, security guards, maintenance workers, and groundskeepers, keeps every estate in pristine condition. These properties are part of a global network of getaways that mirror various aspects of his life. The tranquility of Winter Hill in the countryside, the excitement of London and New York in the city, and the laid-back vibe of Florida and the Mediterranean. He juggles his touring schedule, which takes him from city to coast with these residences. The value of his real estate holdings is secondary to the peace, inspiration, and independence it affords him. The Rolling Stones' first studio album in 18 years, Hackney Diamonds, was released in October 2023. The album was largely recorded at Hackney Diamond Studios in East London. The name suggests a hidden brightness and a burst of energy. With its gritty guitars and Mick Jagger's signature drawl, Angry is a driving rock song that starts the album. The music video has Sydney Sweeney nighttime driving a vintage Mustang. Old and new friends of the Rolling Stones worked together on this album. Lady Gaga adds soulful strength to the vocals on Sweet Sounds of Heaven. Paul McCartney is on the piano-led Live by the Sword. Stevie Wonder is on keyboards on the same track. And Elton John sings a reinvented ballad. In tribute to his life and work, 2 songs feature the late drummer Charlie Watts. The Stones' traditional sound is reimagined using modern studio methods by producer Andrew Watt, who is well known for his work in modern rock. The result is an album that sounds both familiar and present. Reviewers lauded the album for its dynamism, pointing out that Jagger's voice retains its urgent quality. The bluesy chords and infectious choruses brought solace to the listeners. Another major milestone was the album's debut in the top 5 of the US and UK charts. They began their North American stadium run in the spring of 2024 at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey and ended in July at SoFi Stadium in California. The tour was called the Hackney Diamonds Tour. They sold more than 840,000 tickets and made approximately $235 million on their 18-city, 20-show tour. With 25 songs spanning 6 decades, each show lasted slightly under 2 hours. During the slower parts, a 25-piece string section came on, giving the ballads a cinematic, sumptuous quality. Grainy black-and-white film and excerpts from the band's most recent tour served as video backgrounds that highlighted the Rolling Stones' career. Jagger paced the boards, ran brief spurts, and struck his trademark stances with purpose on stage. His speech was steady, and his breathing steady. With the fervor of youth, Keith Richards and Ronnie Wood swapped guitar licks, and Steve Jordan, who was standing in for Charlie Watts, nailed every drumming. The sound engineers of the band fine-tuned the speakers so that everyone could hear every detail. During the slower songs, fans would hold lighters and cheer at each chorus. Backstage, Jagger had a meeting with his tour manager to go over the details of their upcoming summer tour of Europe. Unfortunately, the promoters were unable to find any dates that would work for 2025. Thus, the tour has been postponed. Mick assured supporters that there would be a full-scale celebration of Hackney Diamonds abroad in 2026, expressing his hope that the European leg will return. When Mick was done touring, he started thinking about other ventures. Working with a renowned writer to capture honest, unedited moments, he intends to create a book detailing anecdotes from 60 years on the road, with chapters dedicated to early challenges, chart breakthroughs, and tips on retaining creativity. Also in the works for later in 2025 is a documentary on the American blues musicians who have inspired him, including Muddy Waters and Buddy Guy. The film will feature interviews with the musicians as well as rare live footage. Both Mick's business and charitable endeavors continue to thrive. He supports art scholarships at Dartford Grammar School for kids aspiring to careers in music and acting, and he joined the board of a wellness startup that focuses on plant-based nutrition, echoing his own health practices. In interviews, he has mentioned how these endeavors help him stay connected to the younger generation and grounded. Mick drops hints about future studio sessions as the Stones' Hackney Diamonds album finds its place in the catalog. In his home studio, he has dabbled with reggae rhythms and electronic loops, and, on occasion, during the intervals between tour legs, he and Keith Richards will have composing sessions. Spectators keep an eye on social media for sneak peeks at upcoming music or performances. The Rolling Stones are at a turning point in their career, when they must decide whether to stay true to their blues and rock roots or explore new musical territory. Working together all these years later proves that inspiration does not die with age. According to Mick Jagger, the journey continues as long as the music lives. Whether it's on a North American stage or on a future tour in Europe and beyond, the Rolling Stones' spirit will continue to march. Despite the fact that few anticipate politics at stadium concerts, Sir Mick Jagger has consistently utilized his prominence to address important problems. When the governor of Louisiana wanted to send the audience back to the Stone Age during the 2024 New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival, he interrupted the performance of "You Can't Always Get What You Want" to make fun of him, demonstrating that he still thinks of rock music as a means of challenging authority. In spite of his inability to cast a ballot in U.S. elections, he has often encouraged his American supporters to do so, even going so far as to publish a video on social media in which he warns his American fans not to take their voting rights for granted. He reminded the youthful audience that democracy is dependent on their involvement while standing on stage in a Rolling Stones t-shirt at a Vote Rocks event in Brooklyn, alongside Bill Clinton and Stevie Wonder. These deeds reflect the band's history of protest music. Jagger has always been eager to confront societal discontent through songs like Street Fighting Man, and he continues to do so in his current work. Talking during concerts, he adds in interviews, is in line with his responsibility as a public figure to utilize his voice for purposes other than enjoyment. When politics enter music, he gets a lot of flack, but he still maintains that social consciousness and rhythm are inseparable. He is also involved in philanthropy outside of the spotlight. He has supported hunger relief, AIDS research, and refugee aid since 1985's Live Aid. He has generously donated to several charities, including AMFAR, the Elton John AIDS Foundation, War Child, and UNHCR, and has been an outspoken admirer of the Stones' music. He received a lot of applause in 2023 for saying that his 8 children don't require a $500 million bequest, and that instead of rewarding heirs, the value of the Rolling Stones music collection can benefit charitable causes. Jagger wants to leave a cultural legacy at home. Officials in Dartford, Kent, his hometown, have given their blessing for a museum honoring his work, which is scheduled to debut in the year 2026. His interactive exhibits at the museum will focus on the blues pioneers who influenced him, and you can see his handwritten lyrics and old stage attire. So that future generations might study his influence, he has consented to transfer his personal documents, photos, and early demo cassettes to the British Library. He continues to leave behind an amalgam of showmanship and purpose in his approach to legacy, which he uses to fund community music programs in New York and London, advise health and sustainability startups based on his disciplined lifestyle, and support arts education at Dartford Grammar School through performance student scholarships. From naive Dartford kid to international rock sensation, Mick Jagger changed the face of popular music. His transformation into a civic activist and philanthropist is proof that music has the ability to move people. He contemplates a future when rock and responsibility are linked as he stands beneath the stadium lights, honoring a history of defiance. His lifelong demonstration that rock and roll can be a potent tool for social transformation will go down in history alongside his many top 40 singles and sold-out concerts. True love never fades, as Mick Jagger demonstrates at the age of 81. His boundless enthusiasm has been the engine that has propelled him from his humble beginnings in Dartford to sold-out arenas throughout the globe. If you liked this video and would want to see more like it, please let us know in the comments.